Hey, C-Maniac Nation, what's going on? C-Man here, letting you know the video you were about to watch is old. I watched this pre-COVID. Before I got COVID, I watched this and I reviewed it. And then I just never had a chance to edit it with everything going on with Loki. I just got super busy and it kept falling down in my priority list. And figure, coming back from COVID, wanting to get some content up, easiest thing to do is show you content I already have. So let's throw it on back to the past C-Man, where he's going to talk a little horror action around some toys that do not want to be thrown out. Take it away, past C-Man. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the C-Man, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the C-Man's Cinema Sit-Down, being that we just talked about Fear Street Part 1, 1994, which if you want to see my non-spoiler / spoilery a little bit review, you can check that out right up there. I do have some spoiler comments at the end as well as a few reactions, so if you're into that type of stuff around that movie, you can check that out. But since we were in the world of horror, I was in the mood at the end of the night last night after I watched Fear Street to throw on one other horror movie. This was one that I had stumbled across the trailer, reacted to it. The trailer reaction got way more views than I expected it to get, and I was like, alright, I guess I gotta take a look at this. And it involves, let's just say, if you grew up with toys or teddy bears and you had a special connection specifically to like one or two of them, this is definitely a horror movie that speaks to that crowd in a way that I certainly would have never expected. I mean, imagine if Woody decided to try to kill Andy after he bumped him to the side for Buzz Lightyear. That's the type of stuff we were playing with, and the stuff that got me pretty excited. The movie, a little uneven, but man, there was some wild stuff in this one. So why don't you pull up a chair, take a seat. We're getting ready to dive in spoiler-free into Benny Loves You, and this comes to us from indie filmmaker Carl Holt, who writes, directs, and stars here. And like I said, this is a movie about childhood toys that don't want to die. And one of the issues I had with this movie is that these toys seem to come back and try to kill their owners if they get thrown away or pushed to the side for other toys. They wreak havoc and revenge on some of those other toys. And that's all fine and well, but the movie does not explain why, and doesn't make any clear choices or decisions in tying anything together. Like, the opening scene is very much like, kind of like the 1994 Fear Street that we just watched. Like, an opening where, like, it doesn't have any direct correlation to the overall movie other than, like, it adds a little bit to the lore of it. But, like, otherwise just completely, like, has no direct tie. And it's like, if the concept that you have here is the concept, does that mean, like, every toy that gets thrown away or pushed to the side for a new toy, this happens with? Like, I feel like we'd have a lot more dead people. So I thought some of the storytelling from Holt was a little uneven throughout the entire movie. And that element in and of itself is just one of the things where it's like, I could have used a little bit more explanation or a little bit clearer bit of explanation around why these toys come back and what makes specific toys come back and try to do specific things, right? Like, it's interesting that, like, all the toys seem to react differently to the people in which they come back and after. So that stuff and some of the other writing just within the story itself was kind of uneven. There's moments in all three acts where you're like, okay, we're going this way, and it kind of turns and goes over here, and you're like, well, that was interesting. How is that going to play into the overall? And just some things in the movie that were uneven, and some things in the movie that kind of I wasn't big on. Like, the idea of hitting children is not something I certainly support in any way, shape, or form. And there is a level of... And there's one scene in particular where, like, a kid straight up gets smacked across the face, and I was like, ooh, that wasn't cool. And then, like, the end result of that kid, while you don't see it happen, you see what the end result is, and I was like, that's a little too graphic in the world of the kid stuff. Like, that stuff just kind of rubbed me the wrong way and just took me out of the movie. And the movie does that a couple times, and that's where it kind of gets really uneven. Now, that being said, there's definitely some interesting things in this movie, and some things that work quite well. The humor, I enjoyed most of Carl Holt's humor in this movie. While some of it is weird and a little wonky, that brand of humor, typically hits for me. Outside of the hitting that was going on in that opening scene, a lot of things that go on in this movie and how you hit different beats in the world of humor around kids and their connections with toys, and the idea of kids who become adults and still have strong connections with toys. Like, I think Holt does some wonderful things there, and there are definitely some laugh out loud moments. And the performances themselves across the board are all decent. Like I said, I think Holt does a good enough job, but wasn't like the best to lead a movie. But it does certainly work. Like, there's times where the movie and some of the performances kind of give you like a Shaun of the Dead vibe, and like that stuff definitely works well. But overall, I think the people that pop up in this and what they're asked to do, like, it's not a ton, and it's okay. The stuff that works the best in this movie, which should be of no shock to anybody, is Benny himself. Benny is wonderful. Like, I wish, like, you would have set this movie up to be like a new Child's Play where we could just follow Benny time and time again, just wreaking havoc on like adults who have like now finally separated themselves from their toys. Like, oh, is everything around the concept of Benny as a toy is wonderful. Like the things that he says, like "play with me" and "Benny loves you" and "cuddle me" and like all that stuff is great. How he uses that voice box to interact with people throughout the movie, both in good and bad ways, fantastic. And the way in which he kills people and animals and different things in this movie, it is all wild. Like, I was just fascinated watching this little toy bop around. And there's two other toys that get pulled in, well, three other toys that get pulled into the story in different ways. And I really enjoyed all the things that the toys were doing. Like, there's a robot toy, there's another teddy bear, there's more like a traditional doll, and just the way that they all come into it and all play, like, I dug most of that stuff. And again, how it all just leads and filters into the things that Benny is doing and the action around Benny. I mean, we saw it in the trailer, like him dodging things and flipping and jump, like when he flips out to avoid the fire that we see, like the fire blast that we see in the trailer, like, all that stuff is wonderful, and the staging around the things he does and how different, like, if you don't see him physically kill somebody, how that body materializes or pops up, like, I thought was really solid stuff. And like, I enjoyed the Benny aspect of the movie, like the idea of a killer toy that isn't Chucky, that like this is a stuffed animal that literally, like, because of his face being that, he's always smiling to a degree. Like, that stuff just worked for me, and how they played with that stuff I thought worked really well. And outside of Benny, like I said, I dig some of the other toys. The action, the action in the movie is pretty dope. Like, there's a specific sequence that pulls in almost all of these toys, and a little bit of like, hey, we're gonna set up a trap. So like, Jack kind of booby rigs the house. Like, that whole sequence is just so wild, man. It's so wild. Like, that stuff was stuff that I really thoroughly enjoyed. And then there's one other piece of humor. Like, there's one character that like pops up for a bit and then disappears for a bit, and you like totally forget about them, and then they pop up again. You're like, oh shoot, yeah, what was going on with them? The beat around that particular character that you get at the end, it's like a post-credit thing. That was like, that is where that type of humor worked for me through the whole movie. But overall, like I said, it's a bit of a mixed bag. I think the story and the script kind of have its ups and downs. Certain comedy and joke things don't hit the way that they should. Some of it, like I said, took me out of the movie a little bit, because I was just like, you need to do that to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. Specifically in and around like slapping a kid in the face, and like it's a little girl, and it took me out of the movie. But outside of that stuff, like I said, the story and the script around certain things is a little bit uneven. The humor is a little bit uneven, but all the horror elements and all the kills. If you're a fan of gore, there is lots of gore. And, like, indie gore can be a lot of fun sometimes. So, like, it's a mixed bag for me. But ultimately one that I was glad I dipped my toe into check out. Because I dug the crap out of Benny, man. Like, Benny, I would like to see Benny in like a Willy's Wonderland type movie. Like throw him into like the mix with Nick Cage, and you could have something really special on your hands. But as an overall movie, I thought it was just okay. And like I didn't really care for where they like I said, like I would like to see things more with Benny, and it doesn't really open itself for there to be more Benny movies, which I guess would be the only thing that's like, oh man, like I could watch Benny do. But anyway, so that's it, man. Those are all my non-spoiler thoughts. Time to get the old C-Maniac meter up there, the boys. As I have said, uneven script, uneven humor. It's just an uneven movie. But if you're down for watching a bad horror flick, I've watched lots of bad horror movies in my life. All of the horror elements I thought were really good. Like everything around Benny is great. Everything around the toys, the action sequences around those toys, I thought were really good. The cast is alright, and like I said, some of the stuff hits, some of it doesn't from the script and the humor. So in a mixed bag like this, I've got to go 2.5 C-Maniacs out of 5. This one is like smack dab in the middle, man. Like I probably would like lean a little bit more toward the positive side than the negative side. But it's uneven, and there was so much potential here to like do something really cool, clever, and special, and it just fell a little bit short of that. So 2.5 C-Maniacs out of 5 for the old C-Man. I'm Benny, loves you. Wish it would have been a little bit stronger, but at least all the stuff with Benny was dope, and that made it totally worth the watch. But now that I've said everything I gotta say, I want to know what you guys are thinking, man. Have you checked out Benny Loves You? I certainly, like I said, saw more reactions and more views to the trailer for this than I would have expected it. So if you've checked out Benny's Love You, what'd you think, man? Did you love Benny? Like, what worked and didn't work for you in the movie? Did you think it was uneven? Did you think it was a home run? I've seen a mixture of both out there, so I'd certainly love to know all your thoughts in and around Benny Loves You. If you haven't seen the movie, have I enticed you to want to see it? Does this seem like it would be something that falls in your realm of things that you watch? Is it something that maybe piques your interest? Some of the stuff I said, like, would you be down to watch a movie that's just worth watching a little toy run around and kill adults? If that's something that speaks to you, good, bad, indifferent, anything you guys are thinking about Benny Loves You, down below in the comment section. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, and if you're new, you want to come hang out with the old C-Man anytime we're talking movies, TV, trailer reactions, you want to show a little love and support, and you haven't yet, come join C-Maniac Nation then by jumping over there, hitting that subscribe button, hit that little bell if you want those alerts, and until next time, for the C-Man's Cinema, sit down! I've been the C-Man, and I am signing off. Peace! Oh, hey, what's going on? You must be sticking around because you're looking for more content featuring this guy. Well, guess what? You're in the right place. You can check out more videos right here and right here. And if you have and you want to come join that C-Maniac Nation, you can hit that subscribe right over there.